Welcome to my American History Notes, where I discuss conclusions I've drawn from studying American history and conclusions which you don't have to agree with, but you certainly should know about the ideas, the people, the events, the places, the concepts that I talk about. And you should know more to be conversant in American history. And many of you probably have a deeper understanding and deeper knowledge of it, individual events than I do. So this is really a survey, and it's to give the average person who wants to know some idea, some basis in what they maybe weren't taught in high school or were forgotten. So let's begin again. We're going back to Andrew Jackson's era. After the reelection of Jackson, South Carolina voted to nullify federal tariff laws and prepared to secede from the Union. Jackson began to prepare for a civil war, saying in December 1832 in his proclamation on nullification that, quote, disunion by armed forces treason. Calhoun, South Carolina's senior statement, resigned as vice president and became a senator from his home state, expecting to thrash out um, senator from his home, expecting to thrash out the problem in Congress. However, Jackson, Old Hickory, began mobilizing thousands of troops and let it be known that he planned to have Calhoun hanged as a traitor if South Carolina went through with this threat to succeed. Everyone knew Jackson too well to believe he was bluffing. Congress passed the Force Bill, which acknowledging the right of the president to send troops to collect taxes, but also pleased South Carolina by passing a gradual reduction of tariffs. Jackson's second term started with his stated intent to accomplish two things: to preserve states' rights, but also the integrity of the Union. He made an extensive trip through the Middle Atlantic and New England states, becoming the first president to ride on a railroad train, a 20-mile ride on the new Baltimore and Ohio Railroad. He also received an honorary doctorate from Harvard despite criticism from one of its alumni, John Quincy Adams, who complained falsely that Jackson could barely write his own name. Determined to crush the Bank of the United States, which he termed the monster, he planned to transfer all government funds to state banks. His Secretary of the Treasury, William Duane, refused to carry out his orders, and Jackson removed him and appointed Roger Taney, the Attorney General, to take over the Treasury. By the way, Roger Taney did not have Taneytown named after him, as it was founded and named in 1754 before he was born. Taney carried out the plan to have the funds transferred. To retaliate, Nicholas Biddle, head of the Bank of the United States, tightened up credit, recalled loans, and slowed down the American economy. When delegations came to Washington to ask Jackson to ease the economic crunch, he told them to go see Nicholas Biddle, as those hard times were his fault. By doing so, he brought home to the people the immense power of the bank and the man who ran it. The Senate, controlled by Henry Clay, voted to censure Jackson, but the House of Representatives passed resolutions supporting Jackson and called for an investigation of the bank. Clay also harassed Jackson by causing the first rejection of a president's cabinet appointment and the rejection of Taney as Secretary of Treasury. However, Jackson was on a roll. On the 20th anniversary of the Battle of New Orleans, for which he gained nationwide fame, he paid off the national debt, and America was a debt-free country for the first time in its history. Prosperity abounded, prices rose, and paper money followed. The federal government was bringing in so much more money that it was spending than it was spending. Jackson authorized a distribution of surplus money to the states in 1836. To slow down the dependence on paper money, he demanded that only gold and silver would be honored in the purchase of public land as well. To Jackson, the laboring class, the working class, was the core of the republic, and they required honesty in government to thrive. And we'll continue with Jackson's era next time. Thank you for watching.